From a business perspective, it gives you a level of legitimacy, authority, credibility that you really can't get in any other form of, I'll call it marketing and sales. Because if you have enough content to fill a book, then you must know a lot about your topic. And we're not talking about an AI book that's written in a weekend. I have opinions about that. So I'm talking about like a real human-made book.
Welcome back to Seven Figure Leap. We have a guest today that we did have a kind of a mini interview earlier on in this podcast, but her name keeps coming up because she has introduced me to some of my favorite guests. And that is because she sits at a really interesting place of influence and helping people get their voice and get their message out there. So Amber Vilhauer is our special guest today. She officially runs a company called NGNG Enterprises, but a lot of people know her as the books and business gal, and she helps a lot of authors and thought leaders get a really compelling message out in the world. And we're going to, I'm sure, talk about that and lots of other fun things in the current state of our being and our economy and holding space for entrepreneurs right now. So Amber, I'm really grateful to know you. You and I have had a lot of conversations at this point. It's really fun to get to record one. And so shout out to Front Row Dads and all the people over there who have brought me to you at some point over the past year or two. But yeah, so thanks so much for being here officially on the podcast for like the real interview. And I'd love to hand the mic to you and just let you give a little context on sort of who you are and your entrepreneurial journey. And we'll hop most of our time today into like what you do right now and a little bit of future pacing on how we can help people.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I just love this community so much. And so I want to keep coming back for more. But thanks for having me. And, you know, if you go check me out online, and I'm all over the place, I think I'm the only Amber Vilhauer in the world, which is kind of cool and unique. It's a strange last name that people don't know how to say or spell, rarely remember it.
It is a blessing and a curse because I'm also the only one of those. So.
Yeah, exactly. But if you go look me out online, you're going to see multiple websites. You're going to see me being very energetic and confident and smiley and happy. And you're going to think potentially like, who is this chick? Gosh, she just has it made. And I like to share that that's not where my story begins. This is somebody that I have developed into by asking myself the question, who would I be proud to be in the world? It is a moment by moment decision. Who would I be proud to be in this moment? Who would I be proud to be in the next moment? And especially for those of you entrepreneurs out there who are parents, this might hit you a little hard because, you know, sometimes you have an outburst because you're emotional, you're exhausted, your client just quit on you, a team member just did something horrific, like whatever it is, and you're feeling all of this pressure inside, and then you say or do something where you're just a little short with your kid. Or you're just like trying to rush them into bed because they keep hanging on for more and you're so tired. You've been counting down the seconds to have some you time. But even then, who would I be proud to be? And when I was younger, I grew up in an environment where I was alone a lot, way too much. Single mom, wasn't her fault. She had to work and earn a living, and we didn't have cell phones and internet, remote work back then. So I spent a lot of time alone. I had an older sister who was there, but didn't want to be around me because she resented having to take care of me because she was just a kid herself. So Don't blame her either. I would go to school and nobody wanted to be my friend. And that created a lot of suffering for me because I just thought, gosh, I guess nobody wants me around. I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy. And it really, I think looking back on it, Dustin was like, I just didn't know how to make friends. Nobody ever taught me how to make friends. And so I was awkward, and I'm a pretty like introverted, shy, insecure person to begin with. So like odds stacked against me. And as I went into high school, I started getting bullied. And, you know, I was the girl that ate lunch in the bathroom stalls because that was safer than going out and being threatened or having sand thrown at me or who knows what else. So I just share that in every single interview that I can because I know that entrepreneurship it's so hard. It is so hard to get up every day to motivate yourself. You usually don't have anybody else in your life that like really understands what your roles are and your unique situation. And yet you have to pump yourself up and you're holding up all of this responsibility and you're trying to be super parent and super spouse and super employer and super leader. And it is so much. And so I had to really overcome a lot of my own insecurity and fears to stick my neck out and to get my voice out into the world. And I was deeply afraid of rejection because, of course, I had these beliefs that when I'm seen and heard, bad things happen. And so I had to do a lot of personal work, doing the reps day in and day out. There was no magic pill or formula or hack or anything like that. I had to do the hard work asking myself, who would I be proud to be? And now I'm really proud of the fact that as a single mom now myself, and as a female, I have a 20-year business that has always been profitable. We have grown in every single economic downturn in the last 20 years. I am surrounded by remarkable, heart centered, incredible, value aligned individual because I did the work to know what my values are first, to then be able to attract in other individuals that shared a lot of those same values. So, yes, if you look at my bio, you'll see awards and achievements and all of these cool badges that I've gotten over the years. But for me, at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's not about the money. It's really about having a pure heart of service, because that's what makes me feel alive at the end of every day. It's what makes me feel like the crazy journey of entrepreneurship is worth it,
Yep.
because I was able to help one more person today. And in some ways, like, it's building my legacy one micro moment at a time. And some point in the future, my kid is going to grow up and I want him to be proud of who his mom was. And so I don't know, that's a little bit more about Amber that you won't read in my bio.
I love that. Yes, that's the this is like the conversations we have with no microphone in front of us. So I really appreciate you opening up and sharing that and giving context, because I can be guilty of the same thing. 7-figure leap, and I got a podcast or whatever, and I'm a podcast guest and all this, and so many similarities. I want to highlight and keep the spotlight on you. But I'll just say, for anyone who's heard 70 or whatever episodes of this podcast, so much of what Amber just shared, I have a common background with, not to the same depth in some cases. I never actually use these words, but I love them. And maybe it'll become the title of the show, but like, who would I be proud to be? I think that's such a powerful framework, not only for personal growth, but like a business lens, and you help people write books. And we're going to talk about some of that today too. And so a question that comes up so much in my world is like, what do I really want? And meaning my world, like me, but also like our clients, our mastermind. And this is actually a better way, I think, to attack that, is like, who would I be proud to be? To me, that's a little more of a healthy approach to what I really want. Because sometimes you say, what do I really want? It's like this weird guilt comes in, and like, do I really get what I want? But like, who would I be proud to be is both in service to others and, is fulfilling to yourself. And so I just love the reframe. So thanks for the context. So what do you do? Like, I know that's a loaded question too, because you have multiple things, but sort of like give us a snapshot of what you do in the business world as an entrepreneur today. And I think that'll give us some jumping off points for some of the ways we can help the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, when I started NGNG, which stands for No Guts, No Glory, like 20 years ago, I had taught myself code, built my own website, and started offering that as a service to other people, not because it was my bright idea to become an entrepreneur to begin with, but because some woman in Canada found my blog posts online and asked if I could build her website. And I'm thinking, me? I guess. It was a weird moment for me, but I said yes. And then, all of these years later, now I've launched more than 1,000 websites for entrepreneurs, which is crazy. And actually, that's a service that I really no longer do. It was about 1.5 years ago that I finally shifted out of web. And I still do it very sparingly for my highest top clients, but that's it. I'm out of the web game. And books, similarly, books found me. I didn't go seek them out. This woman, a publishing house out in California that's no longer around, the woman who owned it came to me and said, "Can I teach you how to launch books so that you can launch books for my authors?" And I said, "No, thank you. I'm a website developer." And she hounded me, I'm not kidding you, for 4 months. relentless. And I'm thinking, why are you so interested in me? I'm not that cool. Like, and I don't know anything about books. Like, it was totally divine intervention. So when something like that happens, you just have to say yes in your life, because there is a grander purpose behind it. And so that's exactly what I did. I said yes. And then she literally taught me how to run bestseller book launch campaigns. And my first books were for like Les Brown and Lisa Nichols and Mark
Wow.
Victor Hansen. And I thought, okay, that's random. And I didn't even tell anybody else that I was doing this for almost a decade.
Wow.
Until like word of mouth started taking off and people started like coming to me behind the scenes. It wasn't even published on my website that I do this. And then by 2020, enough people knew, we hit critical mass. And then my company exploded for book launch in 2020. That was actually what got us to grow 80% that first year, another 80% the second year, my hair on fire. And then we had Inc. 5000 being one of the fastest growing companies in America, just basically based off of book launch and then also supporting those clients with websites. And the other piece to what I do, and this is where it gets like a gray area, where people think, I don't even know what she does. It's because I'm really a business strategist first. And I know just about everything that you can think of in terms of digital marketing. And I'm so like strategic. I think of strategy as the fastest way to hit a desired outcome without sacrificing quality. So if you come to me and say, Amber, I want to make $7,000 a month, or you say, Amber, I want to have a top podcast, or Amber, I just want to have 500 rave reviews from my customers so I know that I've made impact. Or Amber, like yesterday, I had a conversation with a woman who said, I want to sell 1 million books. And I have no following, so I have to figure out how to get 100,000 person following in the next few months so that I can secure an agent to get a traditional publishing deal so I can publish and then be on my way to selling 1 million books. That was a conversation I just had yesterday.
Wow.
So everybody's goals are completely different. And when we come back to what you said earlier about like, what do I really want?
Yep.
It is a tricky question because people think they want these badges. I want to be a New York Times bestselling author. Why?
Yes.
Silence. They have no idea why. And I'm like, do you understand that that's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars? It's going to be enormously stressful. And you don't even know why you want that because it sounds cool or it feels like then I will be significant.
Yep.
Well, what if we could know our significance by impacting 3 people? Would that move the needle for you differently? So by having a strategist in your back pocket, you can get down to the truth of what you actually want your life to be like. And then what I can do is I can cut out most of the options in terms of digital marketing and offers and growth pathways and all of that, and then deliver to you the plan that's going to help you achieve that in the fastest way possible without sacrificing quality. So that's like really what I do.
Yep.
Book launch, that's the fastest way to scale, whether you're trying to scale following, revenue, or impact. The book, a podcast launch is similar. It's not quite as powerful because with a book launch, you can get a lot more people involved.
Yep.
In a podcast launch, it's a little harder. So anyway, but a launch is the fastest way to scale. And so having that strategy kind of touches all of these different areas, which is why sometimes it's hard for people to understand what I do.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the classic, you're in marketing, sell them what they want, give them what they need. And
Yes.
sometimes that means offer what they want and then, give them what they need in the sense that like
100%.
people think they want a book and they want a New York Times bestselling book or whatever. What they really need is oftentimes more clarity on their real objectives so that you can develop a strategy that actually addresses that. And maybe the book and probably the book is part of that strategy, but maybe not in the way that they originally approach you for it. So
Exactly.
So would you say a common denominator, at least among most of your clients, is a book?
Yes, I would say that. Yeah.
Yes.
They all have a desire for impact.
Yeah.
They all want to meet their own potential. They all care about their legacy. They all are into personal development. They all have some pretty deep rooted, outdated beliefs that create insecurity, that create self-sabotage and people-pleasing behaviors. They all over-deliver. They all kind of have this insecurity around selling. Like, what do I
Mm.
charge? What am I worth? What is competitive? What's quote normal? I get that all the time. And my clients also, they don't like marketing. They don't like social media. They don't want to be an influencer. They're repulsed by what they see in terms of like a lot of internet marketers out there. And so they're really just saying like, I have this message, I have this burning urge to help, and I don't know what to do with all of these constraints. And then
Okay.
I'm the perfect person to talk to because I can untangle all of that interconnected mess and then help them to see who they really are. Like, really down to the rawest, purest form of their potential. And I reflect that onto my clients, and they are shocked every time, Dustin. It is like, seriously, I can't even believe this is my job. It is the coolest job on earth. I am so lucky. But when they see, and it happens pretty quickly in working with me, but when they see their own potential in that way again, it brings them to tears to just witness that. And then they see the importance of their purpose. And then they get this like unwavering strength and energy to pursue it and conquer the hard things because there's something deeper driving them that now they can see it with clarity. So it's the coolest.
I love that's how you described it, and it's one of the reasons you and I have such resonance. I mean, I work with pretty similar people, slightly different outlet. You know, a lot of times mine's through storytelling and
Right.
verbally through podcasting or podcast guesting, and obviously a lot of times the tangible outcome or the first tangible outcome of your work is a book, and an amazing best-selling book. And we've heard from some of your authors, as I say projects, that sounds wrong,
Yeah.
but some
Yeah.
of your people, some of your authors, as previous interviews, to this one, like Greg Logan and Dr. Ryan, um, and anyone who hears those interviews will hear the just pure passion that these guys have for the work that they do, and like their ability to just be on it. Like, man, such powerful people and such powerful interviews. And I think, not I don't want to. I want to totally believe what you said, and like, yeah, kind of like books are part of it. But I think there's a real there is a real power though, and like in those two individuals, and knowing you and the books that you've written, and some other people that haven't been but will be probably on the podcast. I think there's a real tangible thing to having a book that captures this passion, and have the book be this vessel for be able to make impact at scale. So I guess the question around that is, do you feel like that person that you just described, which is a lot of our audience too, right? Like they've got just this passion to make an impact in the world, and kind of icky bro marketing, social media influencer that's not really for them. Do you think like that's like that, everyone that wants to have this big impact in the world, do you think everyone should have a book, or like where do you fall in that camp, or that opinion?
Maybe. I think a book is a magical thing. I mean,
Yeah.
from a business perspective, it gives you a level of legitimacy, authority, credibility that you really can't get in any other form of, I'll call it marketing and
Yeah.
sales. Because if you have enough content to fill a book, then you must know a lot about your topic. And we're not talking about an AI book that's written in a weekend. I
Right.
have opinions about that. So I'm talking about like a real human made book. I will be honest with you that when I wrote Infinite Impact, I was I didn't really want to write that book.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of angry about it, a little saucy, because I felt this deep, profound calling to write that book. And I had other plans for last year. And I was just like, can I write it later? Like, writing a book just feels like such a burden. It feels like
I've watched everyone else struggle to do this. I'm not sure I want to do it to myself. Yeah.
yeah, like honestly, I really have the behind the scenes glimpse of it. And it's hard. But I have to tell you that what got me through it is I thought, at least my essence is going to be captured for my son, because
Right.
we have no idea how long we're going to be lucky enough to live. And
Right.
should anything happen to me, to have all of that wisdom, not that I'm patting myself on the back, but like all of that wisdom and life experience and the lessons just not be captured somewhere for him. Like, God, that would be my biggest regret in life. And so honestly, when I started to look at it through that lens, I thought, well, I'm going to write this for Clay then. And that was part of it that got me through. And the writing of the book was like 7 weeks. So I think that that's one way at least parents can look at it. And, it's not just a parental thing. I think any individual wants to know that their life mattered, that they had something that they could impart and share with others. I think video is an incredible platform for that as well. I think podcasting is an incredible platform for that. So whatever your medium is, just do it, just pursue it anyway. You will feel a sense of lightness, like a pep in your step that cannot be replicated. It really is an incredible feeling. Like if something should happen to me, I know that the best of me is going to be captured now. So, I mean, that's one perspective. From a business perspective, it can do wonders. I really look at it as a tool to really spend time with yourself and capture, what do I believe? What do I really want to say? And why does that matter? And kind of future casting into, where's humanity going? And what are my ideas and principles around how this could help other people troubleshoot into a better tomorrow? I mean, so there's so many different reasons why somebody might write a book, but either way, I hope you at least explore it. And if you don't publish, you don't have to. In fact, I was just talking to a client on Monday and I said, I don't think it's time for you to write a book. I think you should launch a podcast first, put the book on the back burner, but you still have something valuable that you need to share that I don't want in like little microbursts on a podcast. So what I would like you to do is sit down and write a 10 to 20 page document, just the guts of it, and turn it into what I would call a white paper manifesto. So that he can still get his passion out, get some of that raw content out. It's a white paper that people can access freely right now. And then he doesn't have to like feel that pressure and grind of like, oh, I got to get the book done, and the expense of a book and the timeline of a book. So those are just some ideas that people can experiment with.
A very practical question coming on the heels of that, maybe a bit of a selfish question. So I'd love your thoughts on writing a book versus writing like the book, right? Because I personally feel this pressure sometimes, like I want to write a book, but like maybe it's just like a very practical guide to like how to do podcast guesting, right? Like it's a user manual on like a field manual on how to do like a specific thing. It wouldn't be a massive book, but it'd be a really useful book. That's not like the book, right? That's not the book to bequeath to my children and say this is, but I think it can be useful. And so what do you think about that? Like the idea of maybe having some useful books and then have like the book that feels like it like is like the really big idea. I'd love your thoughts on that, because I personally struggle. Like I haven't started writing either because I don't. Is this one important enough to spend the time on? But it'd be a great business tool, and it would be another way to capture interest from my ideal market and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I want you to do the field book immediately, if not yesterday.
Yes, I got affirmation here. So
yeah. And what I would recommend is you sit down with a just piece of paper, and what's the high level outline, right? So it's your process for guesting, right? But then take it one step deeper and think, with my avatar, my ideal audience, what are they thinking and feeling at the beginning of the book? What are their behaviors and desired outcomes? So their thoughts, their feelings, behaviors, and desired outcomes. Itemize that for how they are at the beginning of the book, right? So they may be like avoidant, guarded, curious, whatever. Now, what are that same subset at the end of the book? They're empowered, they're taking action, they're blah, blah, blah. But imagine that their desired outcomes in the beginning are like, I just want to get, my spouse on my side or whatever, versus at the end, they're like, I'm going to build this empire, right? Yeah. So your desired outcomes, your behaviors, your thoughts, your feelings are shifting throughout the course of the book. And then you can find a middle ground. And this will help you with your emotional reader arc in and amongst your curriculum, because with your curriculum, the way you're talking to them in the beginning is probably like a little simpler, a little softer. You're giving them a layup, and then you're like getting a little more assertive with them in the middle, and then by the end, you're like, "You've got this!" Like,
we'll change the damn world. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so then there's that layer on your book. The other thing is that even in a field book like this, you want to load it with stories because
Yeah.
the stories prove the concept. Stories are how we connect with the author and reconnect with ourselves. We find ourselves in stories. And so then you sort of place what stories that you want to have throughout your book. And then the last layer would be your own stories. So, whereas the first one might have been client case studies, this one is like your memoir sort of weaving through a little bit. And it's just a portion of your story. And if you just consider those four aspects, I mean,
Mm.
your book is written and we're
Yeah.
just talking about the outline right now. So
Yeah.
then you just fill it in as you can. And frankly, if I'm you, I would voice note, the segments of your outline, transcribe it, throw it into a first draft, and then get it edited.
Yeah.
Or even better, what I teach, I have a course called Aligned Authorship that's like a really accessible low level course. And it teaches a cohort model. So,
Mm.
Dustin, like once you have your outline, and let's say you have 8 chapters, I would recommend you do a once a week 90-minute group session where for 8 weeks for each chapter. And then for 45 minutes of that, you are teaching what the chapter contents would be. And
Yeah.
you can even say, like, I imagine my avatar is feeling this. And so then I'm going to share these stories and da 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 da. So that you're expressing your content. And then the next 45 minutes is like open discussion. And people are like poking holes in it and asking questions to fill in your content. So there's no like leaks in your bucket. And that could be a paid 8-week course. So now
Yeah.
you're getting paid to write your book. Even more important for entrepreneurs, I would argue, is the accountability of it.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
And
as you're talking about this, I'm like, this is actually it. I will actually do this, and yeah, I love that.
totally. And then at the end, you have all of these raving fans and ambassadors. And now you have the seed money to go get your book published. So I would absolutely recommend that. And somebody starting, let's say in January for a project like this, you could still have a published book that same year. And you could do a fall launch. And that's going to be your moment to really scale your revenue, your following, or your impact. And you've made money and you've proven that this is a great book because a great book is what has longevity of sales because of the word of mouth that starts to take over. And the last thing I'll say, I have a client right now named Chris who's big in a big company, a CEO, and he wrote the field guide, right? Kind of book. He's very proud of it. It's phenomenal. And I was having a call with him and he says, yeah, that's the book. We've been working on it for a couple years and I'm just ready to get it out to market. Whatever happens, happens. And I said, yeah, that's what they all say. But as soon as you start the publishing process, you're going to start writing your second book. And he said, Amber, I'm not going to write another book. Like, I'm not going through that again. And I said, okay. And I said, well, I just see that there's this option for you in the future where this book was written for employees. What
Mm.
about entrepreneurs? And what about the deeper leadership principles in your book about servant leadership? Like, I don't know, Chris, it's up to you. And all of a sudden, that afternoon, he's like, I can't stop thinking about our conversation. The next day, he wants another call. I mean, we've had like 5 calls in the last week because he sees like his potential shining through. He reconnected with it. And there are so many more books in him. So the book will come out of you after you've written this first one
Yeah.
and just you have time. So it'll all in its right timing.
That's beautiful. I'm really glad I asked that question because I can. Obviously, it was selfishly very useful for me, but
Helpful for
you know,
everybody.
I'm a
Yeah.
reflection of my own audience. We have a ton of experts in the audience who I think a lot of us get stuck in this trap of like, if it's not the book to end all books, then like it's really hard to get started. But like what you infused in me there was like, start with the curriculum, but
Yep.
then you can still intersperse these powerful stories of
Yep.
client experiences and people that have used it, and my own story. Is sort of and there was a fourth one, but there's sort of this like braided rope approach.
Transformation.
Yeah. So that was awesome. So
Right?
I will definitely be
I'm
queuing that
full of
tape
it. We should
and
have you
going
on
back.
the podcast again.
Yeah, that was good.
I
So I do want to,
share that with you.
so one thing you and I made sure or talked about, we wanted to make sure that we included here was sort of and it ties really into what I was just sharing around the book, some practical exercises around activating your passion center. I'll let you, describe what that means. But anyone who just listened to that exchange heard my passion center get activated, and the idea of like I have things I really want to talk about, and but sometimes it feels like I can throttle myself too much or whatever, And then the core question we started with the interview is like, what do I really want? And like, who would I be proud to be? And so I know you have some amazing frameworks. You just demonstrated one for book writing, but I want to kind of give the mic to you for, most of the rest of our time together, and let you walk through these exercises so that people can get in tune and activate kind of like their passion and really be able to make their mark in the world in a more effective way.
This is important because you're in the shower, right? You get this idea and you're like, oh, that's really good. And then you get out of the shower and you write it down and you're like, still like feeling like it's good, but you've lost a little bit of enthusiasm or momentum. Yeah. So then like you get ready and then you go to like actually produce the video or whatever for like your Instagram story. And by the time you actually go to record it, you've probably talked yourself out of it because, you went on Instagram, you saw other people that like looked like so confident and polished and prepared. And you're like, I'm not ready. I'll just do it later. And then you never do it. Right. Like, so if it's not a video, it's a podcast episode that you're recording, or it's something else, right? Like entrepreneurs really have a hard time following through when it comes to using their voice and what they really want to say. And it's just imposter syndrome. It's all of the competition. It's exhaustion. It's your own inner insecurity that you try to like shove out of the way, but it's still there. Like there's tons of reasons why this happens. But I am very interested, especially as I age, I'm really interested in a more natural way of being, so that I don't feel like I have to push boulders up the mountain every single day for every single task. Like I'm just getting more tired. So I have to find more natural ways of being, right? Yes. And that's really where these exercises came from. And they're so simple, you'll think I'm silly unless you do them. And then you'll realize like how unbelievably powerful they are. So this is the first one. I want you to open up a Google Doc, an empty doc, or a handwritten like blank piece of paper, whatever is easier for you. The speed of this matters. I don't care about the formatting. I don't care how sloppy your handwriting is. I just care about you getting into flow state as fast as possible. So the first document, at the very top, you're going to write, I believe, ... And then you're going to create a bullet list. We don't care about complete sentences. We don't care about sentence structure. Again, we're just dumping as fast as we can. What are all of the things that you believe? I believe in kindness. I believe people should open the door for one another. I believe in saying bless you when people sneeze. I believe in I don't even care I literally don't even care what it is. There is no topic that is off the table. You can dip into religion and politics, though I don't recommend you share that with anybody right now. What do you believe about being married or not being married? What do you believe about parenting or not parenting? What do you believe about tipping, to how somebody should dress, or cursing, or literally whatever it is? What you'll usually find in this process is you might start with some funny thought joggers and you'll end up like in this flow state of what you believe, and something deep and powerful will start to emerge where you just feel this like ferociousness, where you are just typing. It's so intense because you are finally getting down into the core of your belief system. And that's not something that we access very often because we're too stuck in our brains. Like, oh, it's Tuesday, I should put that piece of content up on Instagram again. What am I going to say? Right? Like we're thinking, we're not believing and feeling, we're not activating that passion center. So that's the first exercise. And I recommend just go until you run out of steam. And so you might have 15 bullets. You might have 15 pages of bullets. Keep going until you're out of gas on it, honestly. And then you can go back and revisit it anytime that you need to tap into that deeper part of yourself. The second one, kind of similar, is new document. And at the top, you're going to put what I really want to say is ... What I really want to say is ... Because when we go to produce content, we're in our head of like, okay, what was that sexy marketing headline? And like, I've got my positioning, but I'm overthinking what people are going to think about it. And I don't want to create conflict, but I really want to sound smart because I have these things. And how am I going to put them in this certain order? Like, we've all been there. When you tap into what you really want to say, all of that BS fades away. It just goes away and you realize like none of that mattered. It didn't even matter. You are a conscious being at the end of the day, and you have a plethora of wisdom inside of you. And when you really tap into what you really want to say, it gets emotional quickly. And it's like, I just want you to know that everything that you need to be successful, it's already inside of you. I just want you to know that you don't have to search out there for the answers because the answers are already inside of you. I just want you to know that you can say no to people. I just want you to know that you can raise your rates and feel damn good about it because you deserve that, right? Like, what do you really want to say? And for this exercise, I would recommend doing it for your avatar, the one person that you are in service to above all else. For me, it's Heather. And when I think about her, and she's made up fictional character, but I do everything for her. And when I think about her, she has so much beauty inside of her and so much wisdom and so much intellect, and nobody knows it because she puts everybody else first. And she's glad to do it because she knows what it feels like to be overlooked. And she refuses to do that to others around her. But man, people don't look deep enough to know the real her. And so she has all of this stuff inside of her. And I want to be the one that knows exactly what to say that's going to activate her to finally open up and share her gift and her beauty with the world. But the only way that I'm going to access that is if I cut the garbage of what I think I'm supposed to do, think, and tap into these deeper passion centers of what I believe and what I really want to say. That is the only language set that will cut through all of her coping and avoidance and people pleasing to finally have it hit home, activate her. And now we're in this beautiful relationship together. So those are the two exercises. Any speech that you do before any podcast recording, before any book that you're writing, really tap into these two things, even if it's only 30 seconds a piece, and watch how different and rich your content is and your performance is. And you just watch and see what happens to your results on the other side. It's going to blow your mind.
Beautiful. I got goosebumps, especially on the second part. And for some reason, especially maybe it's because I like to serve. Once the I believe, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. But then the other part is like what I really want to say. And at first I was like about myself or like to myself. But as soon as you're like to your avatar, you know, like to this ideal client or to this person that you feel called to serve, man, it just like lit me up. I'm like, that I have a lot of energy around. Like there's so many things I want to say to that person because I have so much belief for them. And there's so many gifts that they deserve to have. And like anything I could do to like pour into that, just like really, really lit up the passion center in me. So I love
honestly, with your spouse, with your kids, with your best friend, if you're in conflict with your best friend and you're just like at odds, do these two exercises of like what I really believe about friendship and what I really want to say to this person. And all of a sudden, your guard will drop instantly. Your defensiveness, your desire to be right or prove or whatever is happening will evaporate. And you will come back into your love for that individual. And you will know the magic language of how to create a reconnection with them to get back on the same page and to create next steps together. So, I mean, this is like a way more powerful tool than I even know how to express to you in this moment, but just please play with it and see what happens. And then please message me and tell me what happened because I want to know.
It just like clicked for me to pick this up, but it won't matter unless someone's watching a video. But like this pile of things on it's like the only thing on my desk. These were letters I wrote to my son when he was away last year at basically training for the Army, and like emotional thinking about it. But it was this like really unique gift to us to have like not texting and not DM level conversations, and to like be forced to have to write because the first letter, you're like, here's what happened this weekend, or like, it kind of, but when you start doing this on a regular basis to one individual, which it could be your ideal client in this scenario, but for me, it was
Sure.
my son, you really get deep because you kind of run out of like surface level things to say. And so a lot of what's in there and what he wrote back, which is of course extremely powerful to me as a dad, was around this theme of like what I really want to say. Like, I probably would never say this to your face, but how I really feel about, insert the thing, my mom or Jesus or my
Sure.
sister or whatever, and is like, and that
Wow.
we got into this rhythm of writing these letters, and
Oh, I love
we
that
missed
for
them, but man,
you.
like this is like one of the best things in my life, and it came out of this period of sort of forced separation. So you don't have to have that, but I think, man, what a powerful tool and what a powerful framework for business and for life and for the things that actually matter in the world, right? So, well, thank you for that gift. I've only been emotional on this podcast a few times, so you
Yes. I
you,
hit
you
my
take
goal.
you take the cake. Well, I do want to respect your time, and I do want to, provide people a clear next step. So obviously do these exercises and send Amber a message so that she
Please.
knows what an impact that she's had
Yeah.
on you through the podcast. But yeah, just, really practically, Amber, like if people are like, I need some more Amber in my life, maybe they do want some help or they do want to share the results of an exercise, like what is the next best step for people to get a hold of you or go deeper in your world?
Well, one thought is that you could harass Dustin and tell him that we need to do like some group workshop together for
Yeah.
you, to merge our communities so that we can be better together in that way. That's just one thought. Uh, Second thought is again, like you can't miss me online. If you just try to spell Vilhauer, you'll get there eventually. And then check out Infinite Impact. I mean, honestly, you can get it for free on my website. So I think it's if you go to infiniteimpactbook.com and scroll down like 20%, there's a gold button that you can get the whole book for free. I just want you to get into the content more than anything. I want to create impact. I'm here to change the author's journey. I'm here to up level the entrepreneurship journey. I'm here to be a good model for others and hope that that inspires you to be a good model for others too. And so to me, it's about those moments of connection. So if you can drop a comment or leave a review on Dustin's podcast or reach out, like I really wish you would, because it's only going to make you feel, both of us will feel a lot better on the other side of that engagement. So
A
thank you.
thousand percent. So yeah, Amber Vilhauer, just it is Vilhauer. So it's not that hard to spell. So yeah, go check out Amber on whatever platform, Instagram, LinkedIn. Leave a review here. Go check out Infinite Impact for sure. And I will say it here publicly. Like I am 1,000% about doing a group workshop and sharing communities. And I think we have so much to offer each other's communities. And it's just a reflection of how much we care about each other and how many great deep conversations we find ourselves in all the time. So, Amber, your gift to me. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for
Yeah.
all that you do for me and for this community. And thanks for having a full podcast episode here that we could dive a little bit deeper and share these really useful exercises on finding your passion, because I think that's something that we all need to tap into more frequently. And yeah, so thank you. I'm grateful for
Thank
you.
you.